All right, hey everybody, just getting up and running. So just going to double check, make sure everything is working on our end, make sure I can hear the sound. So it looks good. Thanks everybody for saying hi. Oh, sorry to hear that Muskoka is snowy. So let's just take a quick second here and let me get a little organized. Sorry, I had a little technical issue just before I launched, and my phone's going a little slow, so we'll see how that affects us, because that is a part of this session. But yeah, we should get going in just a second here. Now, for those of you on the line, I ask, just if you could just let me know in the chat that you can hear me. I can hear myself, so it sounds good on my end, but let me know. And also, as you can see, just take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat, name and where you're from. Now, the other thing that you might want to do in this presentation, because I decided to do this whole presentation kind of from Keep itself anyways, because I thought, hey, why not? Let's do it. It'll be fun. But thank you, Kathy, and thanks, Stephanie, and Kelly. But because of that, the quality could be a little low for you. What you might want to do is click on the gear under the settings and turn your quality up to HD. So if you want better quality, you can click the gear and now at the same time, I will remind you that feel free to ask questions during the session. We'll take note of them, and we'll try to get to them near the end of the session. So let's get started. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in today to Getting Organized with Google Keep. Now, I appreciate you guys signing in, and again, feel free to chat amongst yourselves as the session goes on. This is part of our monthly Building Your Tech Toolkit webinars. So we do these webinars every single month, and we're constantly giving you information about Google and all kinds of different stuff. Now, next month, we're going to be doing one on sharing using Google Docs. Essentially, we're going to cover Google Docs as a whole, but one of the things that we've had a lot of questions about is around, appropriately sharing. How do I know I'm sharing this with the right people, or make sure that when I share this link with somebody that that they can get it? So we really want to cover that, as well as a lot of the functionality of Google Docs as a whole. So that should be coming up next month. And at the end of this webinar, on the hour today, you'll actually receive an email with the recording of this webinar. So, I'll encourage you to, share it out if you know somebody who you think would benefit from this. Or hey, feel free to watch it again, never hurts. But at the same time, I'm also going to send you some links to Google Keep apps for Android, iOS, and for Google Chrome, as well as links to those upcoming webinars. So we have 2 webinars coming up: Crucial Conversations with Buffini and Company. That's going to be really great with Dave McGee, VP of Coaching, and Google Docs. Anyways, so that's enough of webinars coming up. Let's talk about Google Keep. And I'll start with just a quick introduction of me. This is me, and as I said, everything in this presentation is going to be done in Google Keep. So here I am. You can see that's me right there. I'll draw a quick little arrow. This is me. And that little monkey on me, that's my son, Phil. That's my wife, Allison, and my daughter, Jamie. Now, I've been with Royal LePage for 8 years, helping agents really learn to leverage our tools and services. And I myself, I'm a huge Google fan. If you talk to anybody around here and you hear me geek out about Google, I really love the stuff that Google can do. And Google Keep, such a simple little tool, but it's incredibly practical. And, it's one of those tools that those people who have started using it and leveraging it really, really enjoy and use a lot. I myself use it all the time. So let's actually get into it. Well, what exactly is Google Keep? Well, Google Keep is a note-taking app. Essentially, you could consider the idea of Google Keep as like a virtual Post-it note board. So you can see here this picture that I found. It's a whole bunch of different Post-it notes, all different color codes. And a lot of people use it for lists, to-do lists, tasks, and those kind of things. The benefit of Google Keep, it's a Post-it note board plus. So it does even more than just this idea of having this little Post-it note board. And of course, in terms of that, one of the questions that comes up is, well, there's a bunch of options out there. So, there's a lot of note-taking apps out there. There's Evernote, there's Apple Notes, there's OneNote from Microsoft, and Simple Note. These are some of the ones that exist out there. Now, I'm not here to really compare these. Each one of them has their own benefits. Each one of them does their own thing. Some of them, there's a lot of stuff that overlaps. But I know a lot of people have come to Google Keep because of Evernote's change to a little bit more paid platform. But I will say it's a little different. Evernote is a little bit longer notes in general. Google Keep's a little bit shorter. In general, though, what I'll say, the benefits of Google Keep is the fact you already have an account. That's one thing that attracted me. I don't have to go creating some other account and suddenly I'm on some newsletter list and I'm getting a newsletter, all the time. I don't need that. So I already have an account. It's with my Google account. And I have a personal one with my personal and a business one with my Royal LePage account. There's no added costs nor storage limits. So that means, there's no limit to the amount of notes and stuff that I can take. And I can easily share it with anyone else that has a Google account. And that's one of the biggest benefits. Now, one thing I will say for you iOS users out there, Google Keep really integrates much more effectively with Android. I mean, it's not surprising. It's a Google tool. Android's, a Google operating system on a phone. So it works a lot better with Android than with Apple devices. Not to say that it doesn't work well on Apple. It's a cool app on Apple and you can do a lot of stuff on it. But some of the voice commands and stuff like that I want to show you, that's really Android specific. So that's a little bit about what Google Keep is, what the alternatives are. Some of you maybe are using them. Some of you are playing with these. Maybe some of you are brand new to this in general. So why Google Keep in the first place? Well, accessing Google Keep. For one thing, Google Keep, it's really intended to be a program that's accessible absolutely anywhere. So you can really stay on top of your list and to-do items. And that means that they sync across everything. So if I create a note here on my computer and I head over to my phone, which is going to be here, let's drop it up. We'll open up my Google Keep app. So this is my phone screen right here. And we're going to get to that stuff in a second. But you can actually see, I'll go here and I'll switch to my business account. And you can see the same notes that I have on my device are on my computer. And if I click on one of the notes and I say archive one of these notes, it'll get archived on my phone. And then, of course, automatically it'll get archived here, as you can see back at the top. Well, give it a second. It'll probably go away. Might not, because I'm in the actual subtasks. That means that, there's an Android app, there's an iPhone and iPad app, there's a Chrome extension as well. So you can see up here in my browser, I have this little Google Keep. So I'll quickly sign in and I can then take notes and stuff like that right in my browser as well. And you can see that's a lot quicker there. So there's a Chrome extension as well. Finally, at the very end of it, you can always just go to keep.google.com. And that's one of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do at the end of the day is just, go to keep.google.com and you can access Google Keep right away. If ever you're curious, there is, a our products link from Google. I'll just show you this real quick because this really links kind of everything that Google has and all the different ways you can access it. So in here, I'm going to see Google Keep down here when it talks about organizing my stuff. And underneath there, there's a little get started. And I can click that and you can see I get it on the App Store, get on Google Play, use on the web, download to computer. So, you can definitely just do a quick search for Google products. You'll find this page and then you can see, and it kind of gives you a good idea of like all of the Google apps that they have out there. So let's get into Google Keep right off the bat. At the top here, you're going to notice this take a note. It makes it real simple. I click on this and I can take a note. Just like that. If I wanted to, I could leave it at that. And you'll see I can take a note. It comes out big. As you see, again, the idea of this little post-it note kind of board. Now, if I wanted to, I can give it a title. And voila, now you'll see it'll have a title as well. Now notice, because I'm actually using a label, this is getting filtered in my label, and I'll talk about labels in a second. The cool thing that I can do with Google Keep is I can also create a list. So let's go here and click the list option. And from here, I could say new listing checklist. And let's imagine this is a list for when I get a new listing, set up photos, arrange staging, add to MLS, and yada, yada, yada. So whenever I get a new listing, I can set up this checklist and have it all ready to go. Well, one thing I might want to do to keep things organized in this is actually add a photo. And you're going to notice here at the bottom all these little icons. And one of the ones down here is add image. So I'll click on add image. And I'm going to pull up from my Keep presentation. So I could add in a photo. Let's say you add in the photo of your listing. And now you could easily kind of have that reference photo to say, okay, this is the photo of the listing. And it dropped down there. This is the photo of the listing. And here is, here are the checklists. Now I could also add multiple photos as well, just if I want to give more context. So I'll do that. I'll grab 3 photos. We'll drop them in there. And you'll see what it'll do is it kind of organize them into a nice little grid for me. So give it a second. It's because I'm running this webinar that, it's kind of working a little slow. So you can see it organizes a nice little kind of grid pattern. And when I click done on that, you'll see it goes down there. Now, again, same thing. This syncs on my phone as well. So now on my phone, this listing checklist has popped up. And I can start checking items off. And when I check items off, they go down to the bottom. No surprise there. And one thing that's cool with this is I could then click on the more option here and do a copy of that. So that means, when I get my next listing, hey, no problem. I go in here and, maybe instead of new listing checklist, I'll actually give it a name. So we'll call this 39 Winford listing checklist. And now I have all my tasks again. If I had already checked some off, I can click the menu. And those little 3 dots, always really important in Google stuff, because that's where you see the more. And you can see I can untick all items. And that would bring the list back to new. So if I'd created some kind of a new listing checklist for myself, really easy to kind of replicate it and bring it back to life. Of course, on the photos, you should note that there's a little trash can, so I can click the little trash can. I'd get rid of the photos and then put up the photo of the new listing. Now, in terms of those photos on Google Notes, I want to show you one of the cool things that Google Notes can do, and that's actually take the text from a photo. So I'll tell you how I use this recently. My water heater had a leak. It's not something that's surprising. And I wanted the phone number off the water heater. But you know what? I was in a real big hurry. I had to go. I had to hit the road. So all I did is I went in and took a photo of that water heater tag. And I actually have it here. So here it is. And because I took a photo of it, well, it obviously, again, synced with my phone. And one of the things that I did is I actually clicked on the photo. And, I clicked on the menu down here. And you'll notice there's this option for grab image text. So watch what this is going to do. Boom. And voila, it has grabbed all the text from that image itself. So it's really nice and easy when you want to, get some text or put something over, or maybe sometimes you're in a presentation, you see a really cool slide with some great content. Well, you snap a picture of it, you can bring it into Google Keep and actually take the copy off of it. And now, again, I could, share this out with somebody, or I'll show you how you can copy this even into a Google Doc. Now, another way that could be used is for things like, let's say, some people really like motivational stuff. So I'm going to click this add image. I'll add in this photo that I found of a quote from Bruce Lee that I'm going to encourage you to think about today. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. So I hope you're going to apply some of this to Google Keep. So I'll scroll down here, click the 3 dots, grab image text, boom, and there's my quote, and I'll just organize that as inspiration. So a really nice way to just grab some quick image text. If you're in a real hurry, like I said, I was running out the door and I was like, oh, I need that phone number. So I just went, boom, grab a picture. And then, as I was getting my car, I was doing grab image text, and then I could just call it right away. Now, at the same time, what you might have noticed before is I actually did also draw on the image. So you can also save drawings. So when I create a note, you'll see I have the image, so new note with image, or the option of new note with drawing. So I could create a drawing here if I wanted to. I use this sometimes when I'm watching a presentation and, they have a little graph, and then I'll take a quick sketch of it and save it to my notes. If you do it with an image, you'll notice when I click on that image, I also get the little pen in the top right corner here, and I can click on that pen And same thing. Now, I maybe grabbed the wrong example, but you know, if you're doing something like if you have a listing and you say there's something you got to do, you might want to say, you know, circle that and go, you know, okay, I'm going to mention, you know, I got to mention to my client that this interlocking stone here, you know, we're going to fix it. So we'll put this and we'll say, you know, we can do a little highlight. So that way I remember, okay, we got to do something with that. So we looked at that. Now, the other thing we can do, and this is really cool, is you can also do voice recordings on your device. So I'm here, this again is my actual phone. And you can see, by the way, again, look at how it's syncing my notes. So that inspiration quote that I put in, that photo that I put in, is coming in to my Google Notes. And notice that on the actual device itself, you have one extra option, which is a voice memo. So if I click on that, my phone is acting up a little bit, but let's see. Here's how you add a voice memo to Google Keep. So it missed my Google Keep, that's okay. But you can see it actually puts the recording there as well. So, you know, if I wanted to, I should add it in. I'm not going to add it in. But so you can do little voice memos as well, and it'll keep the recording as well as the actual text. And one more time, again, if I go into my desktop now, well, that voice memo will be recorded here as well. Let me pull up my notes. And let's see, here's how you do a voice memo to Google Keep. We'll fix it up. It was bothering me. So again, those are kind of the ways that you can create posts on your Google Keep. You can create notes, you can create lists, you can add a note with an image, you can add a note with a drawing, or you can do a voice recording to a note. And that's only via the app on your device. That is, again, down here at the bottom, you'll see the little microphone to record it. Now, one of the features with that, one of the things that I should point out with that also is one of the reasons it cut off is because it like doing a voice command, it doesn't just hit and wait and record. You kind of have to say something. So, you know, if you stop speaking, it'll stop. So somebody once in the office was hoping that they could use that for a little bit more dictation, but it's not going to do that much. The idea here is, again, quick little post-it notes, nothing long. So the second you stop talking, you know, it's going to stop recording and stop doing that for you. Now, one of the things to notice, of course, on every Google application is always a little menu. They call it a hamburger menu because it looks kind of like a little squarish hamburger. That's what it's called. So when I click that menu, you're going to see here my menu itself, my notes, my reminders, and my labels, as well as my archive, my garbage bin, because I'm in English UK, and my settings as well. And down at the bottom here, app downloads. So the little menu is pretty important as well. And I'm going to get into how to actually organize and move stuff around in here. So I showed you all the ways to take a note. But now what we need to do is talk about how we share that note. Because what I want to do is I want to take this new listing checklist, and I'm going to get rid of this one big photo. It's just too big. It's bothering me. Let me just go down here, click the little trash can, get rid of that. And what I want to do is, let's say I want to share that with somebody who's maybe on my team, or even, you know, I'll say there's some offices who have done this and actually shared it. Their administrative staff set this up, and then they shared it with the agent themselves. Down here at the bottom, you're going to see the collaborator button. It's the little plus person. And I click on that, and I can add anybody with a Google account. So it'll pull up my contacts. I'll hit save. And now what's going to happen is down at the bottom here, you're going to notice I'm sharing this with Stephanie. Stephanie will actually get an email notification that a note has been shared with her. And when she goes into Google Keep, she'll get a note. She'll see that this note is there, and she could actually go in here and check off items as well. That can also be done via mobile too. So if you're on your phone or whatever, you can also share the note with others. Let me see, I have an example of that email down here. So you can see here, this is the email that I actually got, and it says, you know, Mike shared a note with you, sharing notes with Google Keep. That's what I called it. And then a little link to open it in Google Keep. So it's really easy, really not hard to do. And what that does is, you know, makes things very easy to collaborate on projects. I use that a lot for things with very tight deadlines, or when I have checklists of items to do before an event. And many of you on the webinar today, you might have the national garage sale for shelter that you're participating in. You might have big lists of tasks to do. And you might say, as the committee, we'll divide these up, let's get them done. And you just want to be able to know what's getting done when. So you can always just use Google Keep. That'd be a great way to leverage this tool. And if you see in the chat, Stephanie's saying she already got it. So I showed you how to do that. I showed you how to create a copy of the list. But let's say that I have this listing here. And what I want to do is I want to take this and I want to put it into a Google Doc. Because maybe we wrote up some copy, or maybe it's something that I'd like to share with a client to just kind of show them the work that I've done. So I'll click here on the more, and you'll notice there is a copy to Google Doc option. And when I click on that, it's actually going to create a Google document. Let's open this up. And here you see it's named it New Listing Checklist, which is exactly what I called it. All the photos drop into my doc, and then down below I'll see my checklist. Easy as that. Now if I had I'd checked items off on that list, and I click copy to Google. Now keep in mind, this is going to create a brand new Google Doc for me each time. So it's not the kind of thing, it doesn't synchronize between the two. But here you'll actually see that items that I completed were crossed off. So this is really nice, especially like if you're doing a new listing checklist and you want to send it to your client and just kind of as a summary of here's all the things I did to get this listing ready to go, and they'll see that everything's been kind of taken off of that list. Now, from here, we need to talk about organizing, because now you can see I'm getting all kinds of notes all over the place, and I want to keep things nice and organized. Well, the first thing you're going to notice are my pinned notes. So these notes, every note has a little pin in the top right corner, and just like a Post-it note board, I can pin a note to the very top, so that way it'll always be at the top of my keep. So here on notes, I'll see my pinned up top. Now, one thing to note in here is to see that the notes actually go in order that I add them. So one of the challenges I have with Google Keep, I'll be honest, is that I can't kind of move these around. So if I had pinned this one first and then pinned this one second, actually here we'll do that, and then we'll pin that one again, it'll kind of move these down. So it's always kind of the newest near the top, which is okay. But one thing I would like that. So I'm not here to not list out all the issues with it as well. So one of the things that you'll notice is my Google Keep has a lot of color in it. And because I wanted to organize this presentation by colors. So you can see here a couple things I want to talk about: color coding your notes, adding labels and hashtags, and searching for notes, and machine learning itself. Now at the bottom of every note, you're going to see there's the change color option, and I could change this to green. Now what you might do with this is, if you're doing listings, you could actually have color codings for your listings. So you say, okay, greens are brand new, yellow are my actives, reds are my solds, those kind of things. So that way at a glance you can see, okay, hey, here's what's going on, here's where I am, and stay on top of your to-do list. So real easy with that little change color button at the very bottom of it. The other thing you can do is add labels, and there's two ways to add labels in a note. Let me go here and make a new note. I could click on the menu button again, the more, and click add label. And now I'll see all my labels that I have. And if I wanted to, I could enter a new label as well. So let's say I want to put this under personal. And now notice down here at the right, there's a little personal tag. Now keep in mind that things can be in multiple sections as well. So I could put it into all of them as well. But the other thing I can do is when I'm actually taking a note, if I use a hashtag, it's actually going to bring up all my labels. And if I started typing, it's all going to be one word, sorry, active. So see, it's saying, do I want to create this label? So I could just click create active listing, and now it becomes an actual link. And notice that there's now a label called active listing. And now from my menu on the left, I'll see active listing on the left side. So you can use hashtags to create labels as well. Really easy. They work as well if you're doing it in the actual body. So if I'm doing it in the actual text itself, I can do that as well. So hashtags are a quick way to add a label to your notes, or to create labels really quickly. Now, from here, the other thing is the search. So of course, no surprise, I could come up here and I could do a search for listing. It's going to show me anything that I have what says listings in it, right? So, anything that I have, that's great. That's no surprise there. But notice some of the options that I have down here. Firstly, there's types. So I can see if I want to see my images, any note that I have with an image, I can do that. Nextly, I don't know if that's a word. I can go see my recordings. I can see my label. So let's say I want to have a look in my Google Keep webinar label. Here are all my notes with that label. Now keep in mind, of course, I could have gone from the menu and picked my label here as well, but you can always search for it if you have a lot of them. Then I can see people. So here you can see if I want to see any note that I've shared with Stephanie, I click on Stephanie. Here's all the notes that I've shared with Stephanie. And so that way it's a quick way for me to go and see and make sure that I'm sharing everything with the right people. And at the bottom, you can see colors. So again, if you're using things like, okay, any new listing I have is going to be green. Now, of course, I'm not doing that right now because of the fact that I had this presentation, but you can see I can search and I can pull up my green label. And now notice I can also search within green. So that means that I can look within this actual label or this color as well. But the last option here is the actual machine learning. So here you'll see things, and I have music, places, travel, TV. And if I click on any one of these, you'll see it's going to look at my tasks and my notes and find things with places in them. So here, because I put an address here, because I wrote the word Moncton, because of that, Google looked at that keep post-it note and said, oh, it seems like that must be a place. So, I could do the same thing. Let's try TV. I don't know if anything would come up. Call Lynn, call Andrew. Probably shouldn't post realtors' phone numbers. These are actual realtors. Oops. Blur that out later on. Let's try music. Let's see. So there you go. Because it said like inspiration, it kind of seemed like this is lyrics, and that call is coming up again. But this is Google's machine learning. So again, Google is actively looking through my notes and saying, okay, based on what we're seeing, we think this is the kind of stuff that you're coming up with. So again, really 4 different ways to keep things organized in Google Keep. There is the pinning of your notes. There is the color coding of your notes. There is using labels and hashtags, so like Google Keep Webinar here. And of course, there's also that search and machine learning in the search. Now, I mentioned, I think all of this pretty much, you could replicate everything that I've showed you so far with an old-fashioned post-it note board. And okay, maybe not the syncing across devices and all that stuff, but, ultimately you go, Mike, like there's nothing that I couldn't do here if I don't, if I have an old-fashioned post-it note board sitting on my desk and I put little post-it notes on my computer screen. Well, there is a little bit more that you can do, and that's reminders. And reminders are so powerful in Google Keep. So you'll notice down here my little finger with a little string attached around it. That is my remind me option. Now I'm going to take it with something a little bit more practical. So let's say this new listing checklist that I had, and I'm going to hit remind me. Now notice I could say remind me later today, tomorrow, next week, or I could select date and time. So I'm just doing the time stuff right now. Select date and time. So I'm going to say, okay, let's say tomorrow morning. And notice there is even a repeat. So I could go here and say daily. So you know what? Remind me of this note every day until I tell you I'm done with it. And now notice there is a repeats daily. So I can see this reminder and it says repeats every day. So every day I'm going to get a reminder that I should be working on this listing. Come on, Mike, get it together. I'll click the little X to delete that reminder because I don't need it. Now the reminder, by the way, would pop up when I do the first time I do this. It'll actually ask me on Google Chrome. It'll say, can Google Keep send you notifications? And then the notification would pop up on my computer as well as on my device. So it makes it really easy, to hold yourself accountable to that reminder. But let's get into the other kind of reminder as well. And that's, you can see I have select place, home, work, and select place. So sometimes I get a note, or sometimes, in the day, I go, oh my God, I got so many things to do when I get home. So you know what? I could create a list in Google Keep and say, hey, when I get home tonight, remind me of that list. So the notes that I have, I can go here and say, boom, remind me of this list when I get home. Or, hey, you know what? Remind me when I get to work. Now, here's one of the ways that people are using this list. And I'm going to switch over actually to my personal account. So get ready for this one here. Mike bears his soul in a webinar. Let me switch over to Keep. And one of the things you're going to see here is I created this list called Home Depot. This is actual stuff that I created a list to remind myself of the things I need to get when I go to Home Depot. Well, one of the things that I could do is I could click this remind me and say pick a place. I'm going to click allow on that. And I'm going to say, hey, when I get to Home Depot, and you can see it's going to pull up all the Home Depots that I have. Now, keep in mind here, this is an individual Home Depot, so it's not going to look at everyone. But, there's the ones that I go to, so I can go here and say, hey, when I get to the Home Depot, remind me I got this list. So that's really nice, because now if I click on done on this, now if I wander around in my day, maybe 2 weeks from now I go to Home Depot, I'm never going to leave the Home Depot and go, oh my God, I forgot I had a bunch of stuff I had to get. So those reminders can be incredibly powerful. Now, one thing I will say is the reminder is personal. So maybe some of you are wondering whether this reminder will work for Stephanie. No, that is not the case. So Stephanie would set her own reminders herself. But just to show you that, a lot of people use this with their grocery lists. And again, set the reminder for your grocery, your grocery store of choice. And that way, when you get there, boom, here's your list. I'll tell you, my wife and I, that's what we use. We have a grocery list that's shared amongst ourselves. And when I go to the store, when I go to the store, automatically, I tell my wife, just on my way there, add stuff to the list. And when I get there, boom, there's my list all ready to go. Now, I'm just noticing in the comments that Diane is saying, I just found out that you can organize notes on your phone by dragging and dropping. I was having some issues with that actually earlier, which was my problem with it. So if you swipe a note, let me see here. The challenge with that is if you swipe a note away, you actually can archive it. And of course, for you guys who are into Google, archiving is a little bit different. So archive kind of saves a copy of it, but moves it out of kind of the general area. So if I click on this and archive this note, you'll see it's up here, the little down arrow, then that note just kind of goes away. It's been archived, but it still exists, so I can still access it. So that's really great for things like listings. I think if I click on it and drag, I should be able to move it around, but I can't do that on my computer, or I couldn't when I was trying this yesterday. Anyways, thank you, Diane, for that. So there's setting a reminder by time, set recurring reminders, and get reminder by place. And that get reminder by place, if you do quick little notes and stuff like that, then it's going to be super practical for you. And that ties into the next point of this, which is Google Voice. Now, I have a little bit of a problem because on Monday, Google announced that Google Assistant will no longer create a list in Google Keep. So Google Assistant, for those of you who know, is the OK Google, well, you should watch out when I say that, Google Assistant that pops up on your phone. It used to be able to create a shopping list for you, but they've moved that to a different place in Google. Now, that being said, I could still use it to create a note. So, I could go and, say, OK Google, take a note. And let's see, my phone is acting a little bit slow on me, which really stinks. But let's see if it'll do it. It should, although it's not popping up at all. Give it a second. Give it a second. It's a little bit of an older phone. Still waiting on my new one. So let's try it again. Oh boy, it's going real slow for me. Come on. When the screen doesn't even want to swipe. Let's try it one more time. Okay, Google. Oh, there you go. Oh, hey. Oh, it just went. Oh, it just went. Just ask me, sure, what's the note? I don't think you can hear what my phone is saying. So I don't think you're going to get that. Oh, hey now. Here, let me get rid of that. Well, you know what? Yeah, I mean, you get the idea. I could say that. I could say, okay, Google, take a note. And then it would ask me to actually take a note. On a phone that's working a little bit faster than mine is working right now, then it would actually do it. Let's see if it does it. Come on, phone. Don't fail me now. So you can see it was actually trying to take a note in Google Keep for me. And the cool thing again with that is it could then be shared across people and stuff like that. The good thing is that they haven't disabled it in Google Voice. So you can see here's my phone and I have my Google search voice up here and it is way more powerful than that. So I can do the same thing with my Google Voice. Take a note. And here what you'll see it'll do is it'll ask me kind of what's the note. And from here, it should open up my Google Keep. Oh, my phone is working real slow for us today. And it should take that and create this into a note on Google Keep. Now that's okay. And if you have like short little to-do items and stuff like that, that's a great way to do stuff. Because now what it'll do eventually, oh my phone is really hot too. I'm waiting on a new phone before people start commenting. I'm waiting on a new one. It's coming. It's coming. Let me see here. Let me try to get it going for us. Oh, there you go. It's a saving note, it said. Now, while I'm letting my phone do its thing, you might ask, somebody's asking about, does it use a lot of data? Well, it doesn't use a lot of data because it's just text, right? So it's really, really small amount of data that Google Keep is using. I've never seen Google Keep be a hog in terms of the data that it's using. Now, so I can take a note. Let's see if I can do this. Create a to-do list. Let's see how this goes. So Google has asked me, go ahead, what's on the list? And now you should see here showing up shortly. There's my list. And you can see I have an add item. Let's see what it does with all that information. It's like, what do you want to add? So I could go there. I could do it by voice, or I could click here, tap in, and actually type in what I want to add. And go add item. Now, I'll be honest, this is what I did this morning because I wanted to make that Home Depot list. And that was something that, I was getting ready. I was getting all my stuff in order. And I thought, I got to put this Home Depot list because, we got to get some stuff. If you saw, there were some mouse traps on there. And, those little guys are coming out now. So, so that's one of the things that you can do. Now, the other thing that I can do on there as well from my voice, add nails to Home Depot list. Now, what that's going to do is actually open up my Google Keep, find in my Google Keep the list that I called Home Depot, and add nails to my Home Depot. Now, if I wanted to add multiple items, I could say add nails and add nails, add screws, add hammer, add ladder, and it would add each of those. You have to do add in between, or and, sorry, I'd do add nails and hammer and screws and ladder and all of that stuff. And then it would actually add them all in. So let me view this list. And you'll see now, oh my phone is so slow. So slow. It does this every when I was testing this out earlier, it was going really well. But it'll pull up my Home Depot list in a second here. In a second, I promise. It's doing something. So I can do something that I could actually do, and we'll see if it comes. Thanks, Suzanne. I do agree. It is probably time for a reboot. There you go. There's my Home Depot list. So you can see it pulled up my list, and at the bottom here, it added nails. And now keep in mind, again, if this list is already shared, if I shared this list with my wife, boom, it'd already be updated like that. The last thing I could do, and here we go, one last thing. Last thing, I can do a voice command of just saying, oh, hey now. Waiting for the beep. Get a better phone than me. What's on my Home Depot list? And we'll see if that works. Might not have liked. There you go. So now what this is actually going to do, it said, you probably couldn't hear it, but it actually said, here you go. And it will actually show me what's on my Home Depot list in a second. So boom, it's pulling up my list, and there you go. So, you know, even if I hadn't set a reminder, I could actually use Google Voice and pull up and say, hey, what's on my Home Depot list? And like that, automatically, again, it'll show me this list. So, you know, Google Voice is such a powerful tool for this because, as you can see, you can take notes, you can create to-do lists, you can add stuff to your lists, and you can even ask Google for what's on your list. Of course, that being said, it all depends on getting your phone reset there. Oh, take this, put that away. Jeez Louise. All right. Now, one of the questions that came in terms of Keep is if I had shared, so I had shared this Keep list with Stephanie. When I go and create that as a Google document, will that get shared with her? So no, it will simply create a document in my account. If I click share here, you're going to see it's not shared with Stephanie. It's just creating it for my account. So I would have to go share that again. One of the cool things that they've added, by the way, in Google Docs is now you'll find under Tools, there's actually a Keep notepad in there. So when I click on that, here are all my notes from Google Keep that I had. And again, you can see it's synchronizing very nicely. I can take a note real quickly or add a checklist. So if I'm working on some project or some collaborated effort, I can easily do that. And then when I click on the menu button, the three little buttons, I can say add to document, and it'll drop in my photos and drop in my text. So, you know, this is really good also for those inspirational quotes kind of thing like that. I'll go add document, boom, there you go. There's my photo. And, oh, it's decided to keep my formatting and struck out my whole text. That's okay. I'll just edit the font there. Oh, I gotta go normal. I gotta go red. Okay, anyways, long story short, I can do that. Now you can see there's also a little arrow to go to Keep, so I can click on that and it'll open up Google Keep in another window as well. So it's a really great tool for kind of sharing notes or staying on top of data or staying on top of documents and stuff like that when you want to add notes. Sorry, I'm a little shooken up because my phone wasn't working well. Kills me. Now in the menu, by the way, note, I have my notes, I have my reminders. So if I want to get a quick look and see, I got this, I have a reminder actually. So today at 5:30, I have a reminder for this note. And that maybe begs the question, well, does that actually go through to my calendar? And in fact, yes, it does. So you'll see here today at 5:30, I have organized your Google Keep account, and I can actually even mark it as done in here as well. And that, of course, goes through to my phone too. So when I set a reminder here for a certain time, it's actually going to go and put it in my Google Calendar as well. So let me see. I mean, I don't see many other questions from there. So I encourage you to ask your questions. Go ahead. If you want to type them in the chat, that's great. I'll do my best to answer them. What I want to encourage you is my blue notes is to get started. Get started using Google Keep. And the easiest way to get started is just go to keep.google.com and you get started right away. Now, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to send you guys an email with the recording of this webinar. I'm going to send, and included in that email is all these links. So you'll get a link to keep.google.com. That's not hard. But I'm also going to send you links to the iOS and the Android versions of Google Keep so you can install those if you haven't already. The next thing I really recommend is I asked around the office, there's a number of people who use Google Keep, and I asked, you know, what do you use Google Keep for? And the most common answer was, you know, I just needed a place to take a personal note. So I needed a quick place to jot something down, and Keep was there. And from there, then they started using it. So I found, you know what, the easiest way to get started is, you know, when next time you need to take a quick note or something like that, Next time you have a quick note or something to take down, leverage Google Keep for it. Finally, I'm going to mention G Suite training. So if you are still, a little bit newer to Google and you're still, trying to figure it out, you could go here and install G Suite training in your Google Chrome. What that does is it adds a little link, and I can see it up here. It's a little question mark in my bar, and in fact, I believe I need to zoom out a little bit here. It pops up here at the top, and when I click on that, it'll actually give me contextual help with Google Apps. So what is Google Keep? The layout, the settings, all that stuff. And that works with Gmail, with Drive, all the different Google apps. So it's a really great thing. If you're not so comfortable with Google and you really want to get into there and use it a little bit more, you can install G Suite training, and then you'll have contextual training. It's totally free. It's part of Google. You can check that out. By the way, I forgot to mention there's a list view as well. So if you don't like things all organized like squares like that, you can see that's what these little bars are. Now, Kelly was asking about saying, I only have a business Google. How do you switch from your personal to business? So from my computer here, I actually have in Chrome, one of the things I did is I actually set up, if you click at the top, if you're using Chrome, I'll show you this trick. At the top here, you see a little person just beside the minimize button. And if you click on that, you can actually set up multiple Google Chrome instances, so multiple versions of Google Chrome. So I actually have my work one where I'm logged in under my Royal LePage account. And then I actually have a personal Chrome. When I click on that, you can see it actually opens up as almost a separate window. And the different things I'm logged into will be logged into each Chrome. So for instance, let's say I'm logged into Facebook on my personal, but not on my business one. So they're completely separate kind of browser versions of Chrome. So you could think about it that way. That's one way that I do it. On my phone, oh God, you're making me go back to my phone again. On my phone, I've added both my Google accounts. And this holds true for almost every Google service. So let me bring up, here, I can go here, I got the widget. Let me bring up my personal Google Keep. I'll click the menu button, and then here you can see I have both my accounts, and I could just click here, and now I'm switched to my work one. The alternative thing, I could open that Hamburger menu again. I click the drop-down arrow, and now I would see all the accounts, and I could click Add Account as well. So if I have multiple Google accounts, I could use that. So that's a way that I really keep my business and personal quite separate, is I have my personal Gmail and I have my Royal LePage account there as well. Now, the other question, so one of the things somebody noted here is list of great wines. That's a great idea, Diane. And I'm, maybe you said it a little bit as a joke, but I know, one of my cousins actually, he's a big beer drinker in terms of, he likes trying very wide variety of beers. And what he often does is he'll take notes and, so he'll usually take a picture of the beer and then take a note on it. And Google Keep would be a great tool for that. So I'm going to do it myself here. Let's imagine that I'm doing that. I'm going to go here, add a photo note. I'll take a photo. And let's see how this works, eh? There you go. Here's my mug. Sorry about that. I don't think it liked my taking a picture, but I'll bring it back up here. My phone is failing me so wonderfully today. Let's see if I can't get it back up, that's okay. But the idea being that, I could take a picture of that wine label and then I could add my little notes underneath it so I can kind of keep a record and then put it in a label called wines. And that way I can always, reference it if I need to. Let's see if I can bring my phone back up here. It's really not. Really, I've done something to make it incredibly unhappy. Now, the other question is, can Keep be used offline too? So if I'm offline, then yes, indeed, I'll still get my Google Keep. I don't believe you can use it offline on the computer, however. So on the computer itself, you won't be able to use it offline. Let me see here. Finally, what's the easiest way to import a picture? You know what? I'll be honest with you, Kevin. The easiest way to import a picture is to use your device. And when you're in Keep on your device, same as when you have it on your computer, you see the little image button there, just at the bottom of the note. And all you need to do is add a photo. And the nice thing with your device is you actually have the option to take a photo as well. On your device, sometimes it comes up, there's a little plus on the bottom left. And unfortunately, I can't seem to get it back up and running, even though I'm trying. Let me try one more time. Let me try one more time here, if I can get it up and running. My phone, of course, has, by the way, started working real nice and smoothly. But on your phone, you can just take a photo and drop it into Google Keep. Or use one of the photos from your gallery. So let's see here. Let's see if I can get this going again. So here you go. Here's my device. I'm going to go to my Google Keep. Now notice, by the way, also Google Keep for Android has a nice widget to it. So that way I can keep a real easy way to keep track of what's going on. And here I'll have a photo, so I can click on that. I can click on Take Photo or Choose Image. Let's try Take Photo again. Let's see here. And let me take a quick picture of my mug. Oh, I have to do it on my computer. And it lost my connection. But anyways, that's the quickest way to do it. Well, I don't see any more questions. So I'm going to remind you one more time of our upcoming webinars. Crucial Conversations featuring Dave McGee. He's the Vice President of Coaching at Buffini and Company, April 19th. That's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and wherever you are in between or a little bit to the east of that. And then sharing information via Google Docs, featuring us, Learning Services, and Stephanie herself is going to be delivering that webinar on May 3rd, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time. You know, if sharing was something that you thought was interesting in Google Keep, it's something that we get a lot of questions on Google Docs. So again, great webinar for you to check out there. The links for those webinars are in the description. So if you want to sign up, you can sign up right from the description. Otherwise, I'm going to be sending you an email in 7 minutes with the links, as I said, to the recording of this webinar, all the links to Google Keep, and the links for you to sign up for these upcoming webinars as well. So with that said, I don't see any other questions. So I want to thank everybody for your time, your attention. I hope you know, like I said, I think Google Keep is a really cool tool. And it's something that, I'll be honest with you, I use all the time. Like I said, I'm adding stuff to my grocery list. You know, whenever I need something, I just go and add it on there. So it's a really practical, really awesome tool. And, you know, I just want to thank you guys all for your time, your attention. I'm sorry it took a little bit longer today. I'll be honest. I was, you know, the phone stuff cut my time a little bit, so I was hoping to get it to a little bit shorter for you, but unfortunately the phone took a little bit was struggling for me. So I want to thank you guys so very much, and I encourage you to go start trying it today. And if you have any questions, send us an email, learningservices@royallepage.ca, or if you have, by the way, a great way that you're using it, I'd love to hear about it, you know. So send us an email, learningservices@royallepage.ca. So thanks everybody so much. Have a great and productive day.